Okay, so let's create some lampshade materials. Now, in the beginning, I'm going to be showing you a very simple way of how this material should be working. And later on, I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a more complicated, translucency lampshade material. So I'm just going to press stop, and I need to mention one thing that is very important. Your object shouldn't have any so to say thickness, right? So it should be a one-faced object. So as you can see here, that's a negative normal, and that's the positive normal, or that is the positive side, and that is the negative side, right? So by the way, this is the model, very simple model. I think the height is 35 centimeters or 45, cannot really remember now. It's a decent size table lamp, so it's 45 centimeters high, and my scene is, as you can see, this square is 1 meter by 1 meter, right? So let's just go to my camera, and I'm just gonna create a legacy material and apply onto my lampshade object. There we go. And I'm gonna press interactive rendering, and as you can see, we have a light inside, which is we have a sphere light, a corona sphere light. And as you can see, it's not really translucent, right? It doesn't really work as a table lamp shade. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be quickly adding some kind of a bitmap just to make it look, nicer. So I'm just going to choose this bitmap. And the second thing which you're going to be doing is playing around with the translucency tab here. Okay, so we're gonna be plugging this into color correction because I might need to play around with it a little bit. So I'm gonna be plugging this here and putting this number down and this number up. So I'm actually increasing the contrast, and I'm gonna be plugging this guy over here. And bam, as you can see, the scale is too big. So let me just drop this to 5 and 5. That's perfectly fine. Sum the area, and I'm gonna, just remove a little bit of that blurriness out. And as you can see, it already looks like a lampshade material, right? But the thing is, lampshade materials, usually all the time are going to be kind of like a fabric-y look, so they should have some kind of a fall off. And I would suggest revisiting my fabric tutorial. I was explaining how to create fabrics and how to work with them. So for example, if we want to add some shading, some fall off on this fabric-y material, I'm just going to copy this color here, use the fall off. I'm going to paste that color here, copy this color here, and make it a bit more lighter. So that's going to be my fall off color. And then I'm going to control my Bezier, and I'm going to drop it down like this. And I'm going to put literally into the diffuse, right? So now I'm getting this kind of a sort of a fall off effect from my fabric look material, right? So on the sides, it's going to start, fall offing that lighter color, so to say. All right, so basically this is roughly it for a lampshade material. This is a very generic lampshade material, by the way. Keep in mind that this tab, this value only takes black and white maps, right? So this value here with this map will never take a color bitmap, right? It will not read a color, so to say, bitmap. It will only read black and white, right? And this guy will take a color information. So for example, if I want to make this lampshade warmer, I can do that very easily, something like this. Now, even if my light inside is white, etc., I can control the scattering color here, right? As you can see here. All right, so let's create a little bit of a different material, right? A little bit more complex, so to say. So let's just say, what if you want to have two different materials? You want to have some kind of a different solid material on the front and different solid material inside, right? So how you should approach this? Well, a very easy way. You just plug Corona front and back material. So front face is actually what it says is going to be your positive normal, which is going to be in front, and your back face is going to be in the back, right? Which is going to be the negative normal. So I'm just going to plug this guy for now. I'm just going to show you an example. I'm just going to plug this guy here, and I'm going to apply on my shade. And as you can see, if I'm going to remove this color for now and put this to 0, there we go. So as you can see, this is the front color and that's the back color, right? So let's create a little bit more complicated material. So for example, we want to create some kind of, different solid material. It's not going to be as translucent, right? Now I will be showing you how translucency will work if you're going to be applying a very dark material. It's going to look a little bit weird and unrealistic, but you can manipulate in any way you want if you want to. So I'm just going to copy this map with a shift. I'm going to double click and choose this floral texture. And I think 5, maybe 4 and 4. Let's try the scale of that. I know this map is going to be too big, so to say. And the other thing that you need to do is go to your color correction, which is this one, plug it there. And we're going to copy with shift, plug it there. And let's put 2. Let's put 2 here, right? So it's going to be a lot lighter. And we're going to run it through fall off, plug it into map 1, plug it into map 2. So that's going to be your fall off map. So let's just put it over here like this. And I'm just going to mix it with maybe 95. So I'm going to be reintroducing of that white color. So maybe 90. There we go. And I'm going to increase the fall off just a tiny bit, something like that, right? And first things first, I want this floral map to be on my front. So I'm just going to put it there. Boom, there you go. And in regards of this material, as you can see, it's not going to be translucent because it's just going to look weird. Now look what's going to happen if I'm going to, try to increase that, right? So for example, boom, as you can see, it just looks weird, right? Because, this shouldn't be working like that. And usually these kind of materials have some kind of like a blackout material, so to say. So it's going to have some kind of a solid material in real world. I'm talking about in real life. So for example, you would have some kind of a blocking material that's going to block the light through this, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying a different sorts of materials. So I'm just going to put this to 0. So usually sometimes you have lampshades that are translucent, right? So like in this first option here, so you're going to have lampshades like this. And you're going to have these kind of lampshades like this. So they're not going to be really translucent that much or at all. And you're going to have only the light scattering through the top and the bottom, right? So let's create another map. Sorry, another look. So I'm just going to copy this guy here. And I'm going to push this map and choose maybe that one. And we're gonna be, so this is fabric look. This is fabric look. So we're gonna put it in the back. And this is what we are getting. And as you can see, even if I'm gonna select my light and increase the light. So for example, I'm just gonna choose lights, select that light and increase it to maybe 50. There we go. And it's gonna work perfectly fine. As you can see, it's not translucent in any way, but that is the thing. We're not gonna have that. And if you want to reduce that color, for example, you want to have some kind of a grayish there and maybe something like that, you can start removing this if you want to. So we're gonna be starting to remove this bitmap. There you go. So this is how it roughly works, right? Now, what's going to happen if I'm going to start increasing the translucency setting, right? So this color, by the way, it will not work until you are at 0 here. If you're going to, start increasing this number, but look what's going to happen for this, in particular for this material. So it should be solid, right? It shouldn't be translucent, but look how weird it's going to start looking when we're going to start increasing this now. So basically this color is just going through it, right? So it's just going through the material and you're losing the material. Now, even if I'm gonna do this, for example, so let me just copy this guy here and I'm just gonna choose this black and white map and I'm gonna put it to 5 and 5 and I'm gonna plug it into the fraction. So I'm getting those threads there, but the thing is just too intense, so to say, right? So what we can do is we can go to color correction and we can, you know, either you will increase the contrast and make it darker, something like that, or even more darker. You're gonna go darker. You know, you can manipulate something in this way, but just keep in mind this material shouldn't be, you know, translucent, so to say. Usually these lampshades are gonna have some kind of a blocking material, light blocking material inside. Just keep that in mind, right? And I think that's pretty much it of how you can create a lampshade material. Very easy. You have, you know, two approaches. So you have the fully translucent approach. There we go, which is that one. And by the way, you know, you can block as well. You can block the light with this guy as well. So for example, I'm going to put 50, you know, but the thing is the inside, you know, can get very unbalanced, so to say. If you're gonna keep in mind that you have to balance your overexposed areas as well. So for example, the light inside is gonna be blowing out onto this, you know, negative normal or face, but here is gonna be fine. So you're kind of, you know, you're not balancing now anything. So my suggestion would be always just rather, you know, select the light, because we have the full flexibility to do that in our 3D scenes. So let's just put this at, you know, maybe 50. Even 50 is gonna work, you know, kind of fine. I'm just gonna remove this a little bit more, maybe 7, and drop this to 70. So something like that, you know, as long as you're not burning anything out, it should work perfectly fine. So, you know, try to balance it out as much as possible, and it should be perfectly fine. And if you want to work with, you know, different faced materials, so to say, we're actually running this through one material, but you know, it's just very fast to render and works every time. So I'm just gonna apply this guy here onto my lampshade. Let me just select that guy there. Let me just select this guy here and apply this one more time. There we go. So if you will want for me to create, you know, more options for lampshades, I have a lot more ideas of how to, and approaches of how to create different lampshade materials with really different attributes, and I can explain a little bit more in depth. So if you want that, you know, please leave that in the comments, you know, and I will schedule that in, basically, because I don't want to, you know, keep this long for 1 or 2 hours how to create a lampshade. So roughly I showed you, you know, the main approach that you're going to be using all the time, and you have another approach with 2 faces, so to say. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you in my next video, guys.